when people come to me and they say they want to be a content creator, I'll tell them, post 3 videos every day for the next 30 days and come back to me. And usually, so I remember if I got like 10,000 views at that time, I'll go and message my friend that, guy, you got to 10,000 views. Depends on the content. If it's interesting, people would vibe to it. But if it's not interesting, 20K, 60K, 75, then 300, then 300, then like if you consistently deliver value, you stay relevant.
When you hear 60-second startup pitch in Nigeria, you know what I'm talking about. He is a tech influencer and a startup amplifier. He creates high-impact content for Africa's most exciting brands, connecting them to users and investors. He also doubles as a product designer and brand designer, and he has done a lot of interesting things, product marketing, along his journey. I'm excited to have the one and only Bayomi on the podcast today.
I mean, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. And like I was saying before we started rolling, I don't know if you are going to add that. It's from I mean, I knew when you started getting like everything set up and to see how you move from it's just been an idea to actually executing. It's really impressive and massive. There are a few people that can actually like think of something and set to execution. There are like a lot of beautiful ideas that just sit in people's head, but like being able to think about it, action it, and bring it to like this really, really amazing.
Good. It's also interesting to share too that Bayomi was one of the first set of people that I shared the idea with. And then he gave me something that was a push. You said you were going to be the 10th guest.
Right.
So after you mentioned it, I had to go and sit down back and say, okay, let me learn research. You know, when you have a great idea, you'd be like, oh, especially like podcasts, you feel that for more people to watch, you want to bring very big guests. So the moment when I reached out to you and a couple of people, you said you were going to be the 10th guest, and I need to come back and say, okay, if I really want to get to 10 episodes, how should I start? And I figured out that since I don't have the numbers yet, the subscribers, I can't just reach out to random big people and they will answer me. Let me start close from the people I know. So I started with my friends, and it's interesting that I've been able to continue, and now we have you on the podcast. So I even want to ask, why did you tell me that? Has somebody told you that before, or it just came to your mind?
It's people say they want to do things and they'll tell you, let me have it, and then it doesn't happen. So when people come to me and they say they want to be a content creator, I'll tell them, post 3 videos every day for the next 30 days and come back to me. And usually you figure it out. If you stay consistent, you post 3 videos every day, you probably won't even need me by the time you come back because you already understand everything that you need to do because so you already understand some form of storytelling. You are already you've already gone past that stage of camera fright. You already know what posting schedules work for you. You already know a lot of things about shooting, posting, editing, a lot of those stuff. So by the time you come back to me after like 90 days, it's just chill conversation. Oh, I like what So when you told me about
this, you can now explore.
So when you told me you wanted to show, I'm like, okay, cool. I'll be your 10th guest. Figure out how you do number one to 9. So it's also a way to sort of push people to do things because I already gave my word that I would be number 10. So I mean, I'm sure you figured out a lot of things from episode 1
learning different
to episode 9 to now. I'm hoping this is like the episode 10.
It's actually the episode 10.
So for me, it's a way to sort of make people action whatever it is they've told me they want to do. And it just works, right? It works if you follow through. And if you don't follow through, I mean, it's not on me.
Yeah, so interesting. You had mentioned post 3 times for 30 days. So I know that what you're saying is not just something, you're not just saying it, it's something you've also acted upon, you've implemented. I remember May 5, 2023, that was like the first video you posted about numbers race. And you've continued, that's like almost 3 years now. You've continued to post consistently. First, why number race? Why did you create that video? Was something happening around that period?
To be honest, I was just really bored at home that particular day. And I saw I think it was on Tech About or Tech Point, that's number race. I'm like, oh, cool. I can talk about this. So I picked up my phone. I was like, number just read, and then I posted. But it's interesting how So I used to post a lot of design content.
Yeah.
And before that May, you'd hardly find my face anywhere. It's just mostly my design work. And I think earlier in the year, I'd done like a 60 days
Challenge.
design challenge where I was doing one logo per day. I did that for So that day I posted the video and I saw the metrics. So on that, I think that video has about 600 views, which was
Was it the number raised up? Because I know that you created some videos of my designs and the designer.
Yeah, I mean, so those were also sort of like a validation videos that sort of signals that people wanted to see my face. But like the main video that really did it was the number raise, right? It got 600 views.
Wow.
Right. And previously, if I posted my design work, it's like 100 views, 10 likes, 20 likes, 50 likes. It's not that impressive, right? But those videos of the designer and the designs, they really did well. They showed me that maybe people wanted to see my face instead of just the
design.
And when I posted the number video and it did well, I was like, oh, this is something that I can actually do. So from there, I started posting. I wasn't posting 3 times a day, by the way, at that time. It was on a Sunday. So my base is TikTok. That's where I actually we'll get to it. My base is TikTok. So on that Sunday, there was a lot of things to talk about. So I made 3 videos on that particular day. And I saw the level of engagement I got. I was like, oh, so if I post more, I get more engagement, I get more followers. I'm like, okay, let's just double down on this. Because sometimes you don't just want to do things blindly. You want to like look at the numbers. Is this, I did this video, it got, so maybe I should continue doing this. Or I did this particular thing and got this particular reaction. Maybe I should continue doing this. And so that's how I started now posting 3 times in a day. And because talking about tech is not like making skits where people, it's sort of very, very niched, right? And I saw the way people were following me, and I was like, oh, I should really post 3 times a day. So I started posting 3 times a day all through 2023, 24, and then I got lazy along the way when, but that's by the way. So 3 times a day, it works. So if anyone wants to start creating content today, I'll say, lock in, post 3 times a day. All those things where they say post at this particular time, post in the morning, those things for me, they don't really matter. There are some posts that I've made 2 o'clock in the midnight and I woke up to like crazy number of views. So those things don't really matter. What matters more is the content itself. Right? Is it valuable enough? Right? Is it something that is trendy at that point in time? So if you look at my content, so I try to like infuse pop culture, a lot of things that are trendy into
witty,
into my content, so that people can relate to it. Because tech is not something that any random person will just watch, but I want any random person to watch it as much as the people that are in the ecosystem to also watch it. So post 3 times a day, and in 90 days you see result. And
interesting. That's like some very, very serious consistency. Posted 3 videos for almost a year. But a lot of people struggle with being consistent. Sometimes it might be something they even love doing, but to just get to that point where consistency becomes an habit for them. So how did you like develop? Did you just know, was there something really sweet about the videos you were creating that gave you strength to keep showing up every day?
I think that if you want something, you're going to like do whatever it is that you need to do to get it done, right? And if someone tells you that, if someone calls you now and say, hey Joshua, there's 10 million naira, or let's even say maybe $10,000 in a bag, right? But to get there, you have to do X, 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 and Y. And you are very certain that if you clear that X, 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 and Y, you get the money. Would you do it or not?
Most likely.
Yeah. So for me, if you see that something is very, very important to you, that you want to do, there's really no obstacles that you cannot overcome. So it's really just saying that, oh, this matters. And I mean, I was posting 3 times a day. I also had like 3 jobs. So it wasn't like, oh, I didn't have any job. I had 3 jobs, right? I had to resign from one of them. I just even resigned from one of them earlier this year, and then resigned from the second one like last month. So I only have one now, right? But like it wasn't like I didn't have, but for me, and also people might want to say maybe my type of content, but I think it's just being strategic and thinking about like how best to execute what you want to do. So you see that my videos they're not overly edited.
Yeah.
They're straight to the point. No content, no plenty content join. It's just
Important screenshots.
yeah.
and
So it's
videos
like
in between.
I'm speaking to you on a video chat. So it's like I'm talking to my friend on a video chat. Hey, like on a WhatsApp call. This is what's happening, and then I just add caption, and then I just maybe do one. There's this color filter on CapCut Relights. I just add it, and boom, it's posted. So I don't spend a lot of time on it. So you need to also now think about how you can execute your own kind of contents too, right? Do you want to batch create those contents? Do you want to block out maybe Saturday and Sunday and batch create
Just
the
create
content
all
that
of
you
them.
that you want to do for the next create for the next 1 week? So you do that, so you don't have to. And then there are schedulers these days. You can schedule those videos. So it's for me, it's a willingness that I want to get this thing done. Put your mind that you want to do it, you get it done, right? And you can always apply your own context to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was very insightful, especially for starters, that you just must look for a way to be very consistent, right? That might require you batch creating, as you said,
Yeah.
or just doing, not like doing the barest minimum, but try and limit how much time, just take out everything that can make it very difficult for you to show up consistently. And once you can now continue consistently, you start getting the rewards.
Yeah.
But I still want to know why you narrow down to tech. I know that in the early days when you started, you were doing a lot of football, politics, and all of that. But I think a larger percentage now is now focused on tech. What made you like focus?
So my bio used to read, "Hi, I am Bayomi. I share my opinion on tech, politics, and news." Right. So it's tech, politics, and news. And at that time too, let's say roughly 70% of my content is tech, and then the other ones are like 30%. So it's these things look this news or this piece of content looks very interesting to me. First of all, I create things that I want to see. So if it looks interesting to me, I post. I remember I did one video about Odumodu and Declan Rice where I was like, I don't really like this guy, but I love the way he's moving. I don't like his song. No, I didn't say I don't like Odumodu. I said I don't like his song, right? But the way he's moving, I totally, absolutely love it. And I think that was when he released the song for the Arsenal player.
Yeah.
It was, for me, it was interesting to me. And I just wanted to share what I thought about it, that, I don't like this person's music, but I totally rate what he's doing with his music. So yeah, there's really till today, I still talk about politics, but if I don't find something that is interesting to me, I would not talk about it. So it's not like from the start, I've always been tech, politics, and news, but it's just when I find something that is interesting that I then talk about. Yeah.
Posting consistently, showing up and creating something that interests you. But then are there still some things that you always make sure every video you create has, or that maybe other new aspiring content creator can have in mind when creating their content? What is that thing that you think really that sold you to maybe the tech community or even just people in general? What were those things in your video? I know that you had the video, your face, your mic, and all of that, but what made your content really connect to people?
My content is very genuine. It's just what I think about whatever it is that is going on, right? So it's very genuine, and a lot of people can relate to genuineness, right? And so when I meet people, they'll tell me, "Oh, I love your content because you always speak like you care about this thing. Oh, I love your content because it's very genuine. Oh, I love your content because it's this, is that." So I think, and I don't try to form what I'm not. I don't appear, or I don't speak like I know everything. So you'd always see that at the end of my video, I always ask for people's opinion, because I believe that I can also learn from the comments. And that's why if you go to my comment section, it's like a whole lot of learning going on there, right? Because I always feel like I can also learn from the people that are commenting. Some of them are senior executives in their company. Some of them are actually like the ones doing most of this work. Some of them are CEOs, founders, right? They've been there, they've done that. So when I speak, I say da 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 da. Let me know what you think about this. I'm reading the comments. I'm going back and forth with. If I don't agree with the comments in the comment section, I say, oh, I don't agree with this, and here's why. The person comes back, shares his opinion, and then we agree to sort of disagree. So it's like, for me, it's been. I know it probably sound cliche, but it's just you being yourself and don't
Try to pose as
pose as what you're not, right? And that does not mean that you don't know what you're doing. You know what you're doing, but you also understand that there's a room for expanding the horizon, expanding the conversation to see other verticals that you might have not considered. There was one video that I made about bank charges, right? So I made a video about bank charges where they were deducting 50 naira if you send money out, to other people, bank, to yourself. So in that video, I had said that if you send money to yourself at another bank, they will not deduct the 50 naira. And then someone came to my comments and said that, oh, that's not happening, by the way. If you still send money to yourself, they will still deduct 50 naira. In the document that I read, it shows that if you send money to yourself, they shouldn't deduct that 15 naira, but they are doing that. I don't know if the document I read was older, but then when I tested myself, I saw that it was actually true. And then I went back to the comment and said, oh, you remember this? You're actually the correct one. So things like that, I think it makes people see that, oh, you're genuinely sharing what you know, you're genuinely sharing content, and then you're also open to learning if some things are not correct and not right. So I think just being true to yourself and being genuine.
That constant interaction with people commenting, then gradually you're already building your community. I think there is also, you also like have a community on Instagram where you share with people. I think that's very, very important. Not just post just for posting's sake, but being open to hear what we are saying. And that constant interaction, replying their DMs, commenting what you think, you build people, you would have people eventually that look out for you. They trust what you say, and they are not afraid to also tell you when they think, something is wrong, and that way you can easily grow. Talking about interesting content you've created, was there one particular viral video that moved you from maybe having small following to a large following?
So there was Paul G. There was one time Delve conversation was trending on Twitter. So there was someone that made a comment that I think it was like hi, that most Nigerians use, almost, I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it was like hi, if you use hi
Delve,
hi Joshua, for instance, that already knows that it's GPT and it's going to cancel your application. So is in recruitment, and I think it was in one of these US companies, right? So he's saying that if he sees any job application that starts with Joshua, he already knows that it's GPT and he's going to cancel it. So I went to the comment and I was like, there's a whole lot of people outside of the US that the way we are taught is high. This. The tweet is still up, and that tweet literally blew up. It was flying everywhere. And then the following week, I posted, was it that week I posted Chowdeck? So I asked Chowdeck drivers how much they earn, and that's also sort of did well. So that was the turning point for my Twitter. But for other channels, I think it grew slowly. So it wasn't like there was one particular year. But I think with every new video I created, was always getting me new people, new followers. But in terms of Twitter, those two interaction were and then the one that probably like took things to the extreme was Flutterwave or Paystack, where I was asking, I went to
an event,
Founders Connect. So I asked people Flutterwave or Paystack, and then unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know which one is now.
A lot of people
went for Paystack. So it trended, and I posted a video on a Friday. So it trended from that Friday up till Monday. right? And even though I was not in the video, but a lot of people knew it was
It
me.
was your video.
And so if I go randomly to the events now or go outside, they're like, you for that was
I started.
at Founders Connect last month, I still saw someone that said, I love that video you did. So I think those, for me on Twitter, those moments were like, but the other platforms have been very steady in terms of their growth. Yeah.
In terms of your content too, is there a particular, we'll come back to Paystack, right, to talk a bit about Paystack, especially as Zap. I know that one of the content you created for them also did quite well on Twitter. But in terms of content you are most proud of, do you have one particular content that you're just proud of this content? And what was the thinking behind it?
For me, it would be the number video. Going from my face not being anywhere on the internet to my face being on the internet, and to actually now sharing your opinion on the internet is, for me, it's like the best moment, right? But outside of that, I did a video with Dome. Dome is like Glassdoor, but for renting. So you basically leave a review as either a landlord or as a tenant. And that video got Dome about 13% increase in their user base, which is massive. And I think it has about 500,000 views on Twitter, and some other places have like crazy numbers. So that's one very good video that I like. What other video do I like? Maybe the child deck video. Yeah, because it sort of created a conversation around earnings and how like there are other alternative means to earn money. I think those are like the ones that I can pinpoint to right now that I really like. But I think the next video would always be like the best video.
Number doing really well now. Also excited for Child Deck. I saw some of their recent videos they created with Amakeoge, and then with what's this guy? The Spaghetti. Korede Spaghetti. They're also doing very well. Let's come back to Paystack, Zap. First, the content you created for them did very well. How do you feel about the content in general?
So for me, I think in the early days, I used to like really appreciate the numbers. I remember if I got like 10,000 views at that time, I would go and message my friend that,
guy, you got to
10,000.
A new height.
10,000. Like, I can show you some of the messages, like 10,000, which is amazing. The first time I got 1 million views on any video was the video I created for Edukoya when I took over the social media. And then I worked with Jesse. Jesse was one of our staff at that time to create a math video, and that video got 1 million views, right? And that was my first 1 million view.
And that's about 2 years ago.
2-3 years ago-ish, And coming back to the Paystack one, when I created that, so we're still at the event, so we had not leave the events. I took the most interesting parts, because I think that if you start doing this content creation thing, you can always tell what parts of the content will get people crazy, right? I think, and that's why a lot of people sort of think that this podcast that they chop some different section and then post as snippets, they think they are doing clickbait. I don't think it's clickbait. I think it's just taking the most interesting part of the conversation and putting it on the internet to drive engagement back to the podcast. If you have not said anything wrong, why are you thinking they are clickbaiting, or why do you think they are setting you up? Right? Everything you said, they've not forced you to say it. So why? But yeah, that's another conversation. So going back to the Paystack one, I knew that particular one it's what everyone came for. So I already brought out my phone to sort of capture that moment. So as soon as I captured the moment, I added there's also this thing about captions, right? If you look at all my captions, they are witty, it's written almost to make you feel something, right? And so I thought of the caption almost like immediately too, and I posted it, and I just left. So I posted it on TikTok, posted it on Instagram, and then Twitter, and then I just left it, enjoyed the evening.
rest of the
The evening. And by the time I got home, I saw that it was already doing it has already started a whole lot of conversation on Twitter, and I was seeing different things. I'm like, okay, cool, this is nice. So for like, I think for like 3 days, there was still like a lot of conversation around Zap being the fastest or Opay being the fastest, or like, so it was a lot of
whether they'll stay on just payment or they'll add new
so
stuff to it.
so for me, it's I don't think about the so for me, I don't think about the numbers as much these days, right? It's just, oh, it has happened, yeah, cool, right? But in the early days, I used to be very, very excited about, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but now I just feel like, oh, if I've done a good job, I should get the numbers. And if the content, also, it depends on the content. If it's interesting, people would vibe to it. But if it's not interesting, people won't vibe to it. And that's what I always try to let some of the people I do content for understand, that you can't force it, right? If the content is good, it is good. People will vibe to it. Yeah.
For that Paystack, how did that happen? Did you just create it by yourself, or did you add something with Paystack that people that came for that event should share, or you just created it all by yourself? Was there any partnership sort of?
So I was invited so they had like an evening with Paystack.
Oh, okay.
So they reached out to my team and they were like, oh, we want to invite you for this. So it's a very low-key event. Don't tell anybody. So we went for the event, and I just whipped up my phone and filmed like where I know would be most important. Just filmed it. And so I got invited by Paystack, and I met like really cool people from there. Yeah.
Interesting. Two things that I really pick from what you said, like intuition, knowing what to create and how to create it. That is something that is going to develop with time, more like a muscle that the moment, as far as you keep on creating, your intuition will just continue to develop, where you know that this is how I should create, this is what I need to take out, this is what people will connect to, and also to what people will connect to that. If you mentioned about how your captions will make you feel something, I think that's what makes stories very powerful, where whether you are telling it in form of written text or videos or audio, just make sure that you create it such that it connects to people. One of the guests we have recently, that's Blessing, we're talking about Sunday Onokoya with Chess in Slum, how it tells the story of the kids will just make you feel something, and you would want to eventually partner with them, support the kid and all of that, like intuition and just creating something that connects with people. And once people connect with it and they vibe with it, the numbers will come naturally.
The number is a consequence now of the work that you've put in, right? So if you go in thinking, oh, I want to do this number, you probably wouldn't do the number. So just go in, or the way I go in is, I want to create the best thing I can create, and I'm sure the numbers would follow, right? So it's value, and everything else would follow. So it's like when the Bible says, seek ye the kingdom of God, and everything will be added unto you. So it's like, you first go do the hard work, and everything will follow you. So that's, for me, that's the way I think about it, right? If you put in the work, the results will follow.
Interesting and brilliant. Let's still stay on Zap. What do you think of everything that happened after the launch of Zap? It was an interesting release. Your video did well. People were talking about it. We were excited. The Belong was also did the branding. They were excited to share. I seem as if everything from just Zap Africa just coming out to say, we are the owners of Zap. You can't, and then the interaction on Twitter down to CBN now saying that, okay, you guys did not really do all what you need to do. What do you think happened? How do you think they would feel? First, I feel that Paystack has super amazing and brilliant people. They're a top company.
So from what I think Tech Points really, I think Tech Points, either Tech Points or I think Tech Points, they released Tech Points released, and then Big Tech this week also released. They released like an exclusive on event of things that happen. So I think on Zap's part, I mean, I'm not on their teams. This is just based on what is available on the internet. On Zap Africa's part, they had registered and trademarked in certain categories, and they let the other categories open. Right? And Paystack saw that opportunity and they basically took the opportunity. So for me, I think it's just the legal interpretation of what happened, and maybe also like the moral side of it. But ultimately, it's, was this thing available? Based on what we know now, it was available in those categories that Zap Africa had not registered. And there's also the part where there is a lot of Zaps.
Even beyond
even just beyond Zap Africa. So there are like other Zaps. That's just what I can say about it.
Yes, right. I know there'll be a lot of opinions. CBN now coming to say maybe they did not get all of the regulatory stuff. So that will lead us to talk about regulations in Africa and of the tech ecosystem even in Nigeria. What do you think about regulations? Now we're having, I think crypto is now like legal now to trade. What do you think about regulations? Is it helping our startups? Is it helping the tech ecosystem? And how should founders or startup or builders generally work with regulatory bodies?
I think that the regulators are always behind the innovators, right? And when they realize that the innovators have done something, they'll be like, "Oh, you can't do that," and then they slam them with fines, right? So I think that we need to come to that stage where if someone has done a very honest misstep, we should be able to come to a table and say, "Oh, this thing that you've done, this is not how we can do it." If it is very honest. But if it is not honest, by all means, slam them. And I also think maybe there should be more, because people dream of ideas, they think of ideas and they want to execute at the speed of light. What's that popular word? Move fast and break things, right? And I mean, once you break things, the regulators will be like, no, you cannot break that. We should sometimes be thinking of how can we help people innovate more rather than always when they take an honest misstep. But yeah, maybe it's not a mistake. Maybe it's just, there's this loophole that we can exploit. And when the regulators see that, there's a loophole, they just come and say, you can't do that. We already blocked that loophole and all of those things. Yeah.
To be speaking to a lot of founders, especially with the 60-second speech. So was there a gap you saw, and why did you start that series? And probably just tie it to what is the common mistakes that you've seen in how early stage founders share their story?
So, I'll be honest, I did not see any gap. Right, I didn't see any gap. It was my conversation with Anil, who is an investor, a VC at Antler. We're having conversations around my content, and then he showed me something around a pitch video that some guy in India had done, and it was really cool. And it was like, you can do something like this. So I thought about it deeply, and I figured I could make it mine, adapt it to like make it mine. And that's what I did. Basically adapted what I had saw to make it mine in my own style. So what we have right now is me and the founder, and then I asked the founder what they are building, and then I leave the screen for the founder to sort of shine. And the mistakes I've seen them do, I think some of them are very, very brilliant, right? And they are able to tell their story if you wake them up, right? And some of them, they are brilliant as well, but they probably need someone that can communicate their brand story very well, right? But it just happens so that most of the founders want to be like they want to be the face, where in natural fact there should be another person to be the face. So I'll say, if you're not very articulate, if you are not oratory, maybe it's best for you to find, if you cannot take some time to learn the ropes,
develop the skill.
Maybe you find someone as a co-founder that can tell the story in a way that encapsulates people's attention and interest in your business. So you don't necessarily need to be the face of your company.
I think that's absolutely brilliant, right? Because if you just it just has to be me, and then it's not like connecting the audience. they can't feel the genuineness, or you're not able to tell the exact story of the product, they might just be leaving money on the table. People are not able to connect, they're not
Yeah.
able to invest. And it's also brilliant how just your own interaction with Antler, the person at Antler, and that influence you creating.
Yeah.
And also how even Use Dome. Now I think I saw that they announced that they now have a sort of partnership with
Yeah, they got
Antler. That's
into
like a
Antler.
beautiful,
Yeah,
more like a
360.
full circle
Yeah.
moment for you.
Yeah.
Also interesting. But when you zoom out, the tech ecosystem 2 years plus ago, not just the tech ecosystem, maybe content creation space, and then the tech ecosystem, what has changed from when you started creating videos about numbers raised to now? As your perspective change, I don't know, what do you think about the
I think
ecosystem?
there's either one of these two things. There's either less money coming into the country, obviously there's less money, or people are not announcing the money that they are getting. Right. So for instance, we used to have like almost every week, we used to have a startup
that
announce that
period.
they've raised money. But now we can go like 2 months and not see a fund. So people are either not announcing, or there's not enough money coming in. And based on the data that's available, there's not enough coming in as it used to. So there's obviously less money. Another thing is probably like fintech.
Yeah.
People say it's saturated. I agree on some end. I don't agree on some other ends. I think that people think fintech is only payments. There are other it's financial technology, not payment technology, right? So you can build an insurance product. It's still fintech, right? You can build a buy now, pay later product. It's still fintech, right? So payments may be saturated, but like other parts of fintech is still very much open for innovation. And so I think we need to like see more innovation in other areas of fintech aside payments and bills. In terms of content, I see a lot of people now trying to do what I do, which I find very, very interesting. And I mean, I hope more people will come and do. I see a lot of people on TikTok now doing it. I see some on Twitter. I see some on Instagram, and which is very, very interesting, because I think the more people there are in the space, especially in like tech, influencing for tech, the higher the value it is for everyone.
Creators,
Right. Yeah. So so from when I started, which is probably like only me, to now, I think there's been like a huge shift in number of creators in the tech space. Yeah.
There's been a conversation on like a debate on Twitter. We've been trying to do stuff in AI, blockchain. Remember, Bosun Tijani talked about stuff in the crypto space. I think a document or so, and people are like, solve electricity first. And I think I also saw a video of Tony Lumelu talking about how Africa needs to really work on electricity. So what do you think? We're still having basic issues like electricity. Should we continue to do both hand in hand? Should electricity come faster so that all of these other startups and interesting product can also come alongside?
I don't think we had better electricity when Paystack built their product and eventually exited. And I think that, yes, we should build electricity, but that should not stop other things that can be done. Right? They are not mutually exclusive. They released a blockchain paper. I mean, it doesn't necessarily stop each other. It just means that we need to now maybe work 10 times harder than we would have done if we had like electricity in place, for instance. And I've been using solar for my house for like, I got it last year, and I mean it's been somewhat of a life changer. So imagine if we are able to like do more of that, right? It means that maybe our dependency on I mean, nothing can substitute electricity from the grid, but at least you can see improvements in, for me personally, I've seen improvements in when I didn't have like stable power supply, and when I added solar. And I know this might sound contradictory, but I think that given the cards we've been dealt with, we should always try to think around how we can best maximize the resources. And there are a number of people that are really building cool stuff. Nathan is building is building a robotic company here out of Nigeria, right? And they don't have 15 heads; they just still have one head. So yeah, I think things can be done even from here, even without like, but it would be great if the government can prioritize. Cannot wait till we'll just be stagnant, right? We have to keep trying to move on and try new stuff, and yeah.
Yeah. I also absolutely agree, right? Because as much as we need the foundation really sorted, good light, water, education, but nonetheless, we can't just say because those ones are not available, then we stop building.
Yeah.
We just need to try to keep pushing it alongside. When you mentioned that our light wasn't great when we had the likes of Flutterwave, Paystack starting, and some of these things, we don't know how soon we'll get them.
Yeah.
So we just need to keep building and doing cool stuff. Also, AI, artificial intelligence, we are starting to have interesting activities around artificial intelligence. And I love that we are trying to catch in early in the crypto space, blockchain space, and now even artificial intelligence, which is like changing the way we work and might change it forever. Just like when we had electricity invented, we had mobile phones invented, we have a lot of software applications, but artificial intelligence seems like is also going to be the game changer. We are starting to have interesting activities. What do you think? Are we doing well enough? What are the interesting activities or startups you've been seeing doing cool stuff around AI? Or can we do more? And how can we do more?
The really standout one for me right now is speech. It's a speech generation and translation tool for African languages, starting with Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa. So if you wanted to run a media company, for instance, and you don't want to hire a host, right? You can already plug into speech API, feed it your script, and generate authentic Nigerian voice with speech. So maybe all you now need to do is maybe an avatar or something that will now like do the voiceover. But with speech, you can already generate those Nigerian language, and it will sound exactly like it. So I think I'm very, very bullish on speech. Outside of speech, they are also like really they are really interesting products that I've seen. I think maybe the next one will be Dome. It's not AI first, but it adapts AI to improve its products.
Enabled.
Yeah, it's AI enabled, and some I think that applying AI to like local context will be like a major thing for us, because we don't have the resources to invest
Build
in
LLMs and-
build huge. So it's really just applying those AI for local context use. So for instance, with Dome now, there's a lot of massive data that is coming in from reviews. How do you then aggregate that review to make sense of it? That's where AI comes in. So like I think those kind of applications are really what will make us move forward. There's also these guys, AI Examiner, right? What they do is, if you wanted to study for maybe an exam, for instance, you can put all your learning materials into their AI, and then it can either generate past questions for you, maybe like flashcards or multiple choice, all those stuff. So really, I think those are like really amazing use cases that I've seen. It's really just looking at the problems, all of the problems we have in Nigeria, and then adapting AI to solve those problems. So we might not necessarily build our own LLM or whatever, but adapting those for local context is where the game is for me. Yeah.
Sure. In terms of content creation, how do you think, how are content creators using AI currently, and how do you think they should be using it? Are there products or platforms they should be exploring? Because the general notion is still that, most times before the mobile phone came to this place, the Western people were already using it a lot. Even now too, some new tech would have gone very far and wide there, and it takes a long time for it to come. But I think we are trying to catch up a bit.
Yeah.
I'll still say primarily Lagos. That will still lead me to what we'll talk about in terms of where interesting tech activities is happening around the country. But in terms of using AI, content creators, how are content creators using it? How do you think they should be using it?
So for me, I mostly use it for like research, perplexity. And perplexity is different because it sources its data from the web. So it's live.
Okay.
So if you want to know maybe what's happening with Bayomi, for instance, if you type in Bayomi, it's bring you everything that you can find from Bayomi. So I use that for like research, GPT, cloud, DeepSeek, maybe also Mistral. I use those for like brainstorming. So I have an idea of a content I want to shoot. I put in the thoughts, right, and then it generates me different ideas. So there was when the Paystack and Zap issue first happened, I had a thought in my mind about how I can adapt that issue with something that already exists, which is the mailing intro. So the mailing intro is, if I remember correctly, in the land of magic and in the time of myth, the destiny of the great kingdom rests on the shoulders of a young warlock. His name, Merlin. So I was like, oh, I can actually use this to sort of address the issue going on with Zap. So I fed the issue that is happening with Zap and Zap Africa to GPT, and then I told it that I want it to sort of rewrite the mailing intro to fit the issue, and then it gave me something like, in the land of fintech and in the time of something, the destiny of two great brands rests on the shoulders of a great name, Zap. So it's just me using GPT to sort of create an idea. I already knew what I wanted, but I wasn't sure on how to execute, and I told it to sort of help me find ways, and then it find something that was perfect for me. So, and I mean, that video did well. So yeah, it's really just understanding what you want to do. There are some other, Google released some new AI products that can generate really amazing.
View 3, and I've been seeing the videos and then the audio. Like so, massive improvement from the Will Smith video.
So there's that also. There's also speech. I always plug speech. So with speech, you can create faceless YouTube accounts and start using speech to generate your voice and all of those things. So so content creators can use either of any of these ones that I've mentioned so far. Yeah.
Brilliant. You guys should go and check out speech, because Bayomi is like, you guys need to check it out and really use it. And from what you said, it's like super valuable even for creators. So Bayomi, along your career journey, right, you've done graphic design, brand design, product design, product marketing, you even done sales person. You've gone out to go and look for clients and all of that. And then now amplifying startups. Is there a thread that ties all of these expressions together?
I think all experience compounds, right? So, brand designer at Edukoya, and then I went on to lead a team of 5 in-house people and 10 external people to build our question bank, right? And the question bank was basically questions and answers for people that were writing JAMB exam, right? And from there, I went on to product marketing, shooting videos and all of those. So I basically wrote scripts and led the shooting, the directing, and you were behind the camera and stuff. So if you look at that now, from shooting and writing scripts, so if I want to even create my own content now, I already understand how, because I did it at Edukoya, I can now do it myself. So I wouldn't say there's a central thing. I would say it's that knowledge compounds, and what you've done in the past, it might be useful for you later on in the future. So I wouldn't say there's a central thing. Maybe there's a central thing, it's me, but like knowledge compounds. So no matter whatever it is, so because I also did sales at Edukoya, I'm able to like pitch people now that, I want to work on a show, which I recently did with Clever Bank. I was like, I'm working on this. Can you come and sponsor? I did a little pitch deck, sent it to them, and it's because I have experience selling to people, right? Which I did at Edukoya. I was able to like bring on that experience, and then I mean, I didn't know it would be useful today, but because I did it, it compounds. It's not necessarily like a central thing. It's just that things build up on each other.
There's also the energy you have in a lot of startups, especially when you find the right people. You also you also played a very huge role in recruiting some of the amazing guys that came on board for Edukoya. And that energy we brought such that we just knew that this product needs to work, it needs to survive. Whatever role you need to adapt, if you need to sell today, you need to do voiceover today. Some people were recruited to just teach, but then they had to create content. And as you said, you had like the central person among all of your expressions, but every experience you've gathered at different roles has become valuable in who you are today. I think that's something that everyone should take very serious. Wherever you are, give it your very best, and everything you learn, they might not be very tangible, connecting one to one, but those experiences are always very valuable in your future.
Yeah, it is. And try your best. And don't, especially if it's something that won't take much out of you, right? Try your best. You never know when you need the stops.
So doing all of these stuffs now, which I know you still do a couple of them currently, working as a product designer, working as an influencer, content creator. So now, do you struggle with your positioning, especially across platforms? I know that a lot of people always feel like, oh, how should I push? Should I push as a product designer? Should I push as a content creator? How do you find that middle ground? How are you balancing? And do you have that conflict currently?
So I think for me, I like to show people what I want them to see. So if you have been following my journey, there was a time where people strictly know me as Manzi of Design. And then there was a time when people strictly know me as Bayomi of Edukoya. And now people know me as a startup content creator, right? So I think for me, it's just deciding what do I want. If I wake 10 people up today and say, oh, what do I do? They can always remember once you figure out that thing, then and just speak more on that. So right now, we will not see any design of mine outside. There was a time like it would only be my design that you see, but now I post it on my story once in a while, right? And I talk about it once in a while. But majority of the people don't know that I do product design, which is that I don't want people to know that I do. Not that I don't want people to know, but that's not like what I want to sell to the what I want to sell to the world is that, oh, if you're thinking about startups, you're thinking about tech in Africa, then Bayomi is your guide. So you have to then consistently deliver on that message, right? So imagine now, I say, if you want anything about tech and startups, come to Bayomi. And then tomorrow you see me maybe doing boxing. It doesn't connect, right? Unless I find a way to tie it and say, oh, every day is not for tech. Maybe today we want to have fun, right? But you are still bringing it back to like, oh, tech is the core, but today we are just having fun outside of tech. But if I start throwing, oh, today I'm a boxer, tomorrow, people will struggle to find that alignment. So I think it's just you thinking about what you want people to remember about you and then delivering on that promise every single day.
Wow, interesting. That's like very brilliant. At least what I picked from what you said is that yes, you might have several things, but still try and find out the most important that you want to sell to people at different phases. And it's okay to change. It doesn't have to be what I start with, that's what you do next year and next 2 years. Find out the most important you want to sell to people and stay on it. And other ones, you can now keep carrying them along. And if you are lucky to find a common ground for them, you can now sell them or connect it. But at least have something you want to sell to people. And that's like a brilliant way to position yourself. Awesome. You mentioned earlier that there are now a lot of people that are doing similar content like you. You want the space to grow and all of that. But then how do you stay relevant? A lot of people find that pressure where they started with something, it has blown, they are doing very well, but the hard work still lies in staying relevant, where startups and venture studios and investment companies know that, oh, I still need to talk to Bayomi. How do you try to keep yourself important and relevant in the content creation space?
I think it's just really thinking about the value, because ultimately it's value. Where there's value, there will be eyeballs, and where there's eyeballs, there's always like monetary value attached to it, right? So if you notice, I started with just normal selfie videos, talking like I'm speaking to my friend and sharing my thoughts around tech. And then along the line, I added 60-second speech with Bayomi. And I'm also now thinking about, I said I'm working on something for Clever. So I'm also now thinking about different things to add layer. So it's consistently delivering value. And once you keep on delivering value, right, I think staying relevant for me it's not, I don't think that should be the goal. I think the goal should be how can I consistently deliver value, right? And if you consistently deliver value, right, you stay relevant, right? Look at Messi and Ronaldo. They've been in our faces for more than 15 years, and it's because year in, year out, they are delivering.
Enjoy watching
Yeah,
them,
they are delivering. They are delivering on their promise. So you know that, oh, bad as bad, Messi will score. Even if he doesn't score, he will create chances, right? So
Don Jazzy is an interesting person to witness how he does content creation, right? It was at some point it's something that maybe big people, executives feel like I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I guess he saw that he could do it,
Yeah.
and then he has continuously he has continued to create interesting stuff and interesting ways of even pushing his artists, and that way he's just naturally relevant because he's always in your face, creating stuff, collaborating with people. I think that's also a powerful example.
Yeah, it is. It is. And to be honest, it's value. If you deliver value, people will notice
just
you.
Sure. What's next for the Bayomi brand? I know you mentioned interesting things you have upcoming, and I know that you also have a big interest in music. You've done cool stuff around Ilaje music, if I'm right, at some point in time. But I think maybe you've reduced how much effort you're putting in that direction. But now, in the future, what should we expect from the Bayomi brand?
We actually I brought in like 6 artists from different states, Delta, on those states, and maybe Ogun State and Lagos, last month to come and shoot 10 music and videos. We'll be releasing that sometime around next June, next month. Yeah, so I'm still actively working with my larger people to like produce, because I think that the language is very powerful. The music is very powerful, and it is spiritual also. There are songs that you hear and you just feel connected and feel closer to the creator, to your creator. And I think these songs should not be missing, rather they should be improved and developed on. And that's why I picked interest in larger music. And it's also because I grew up listening to them and I want to hear more of it. And I rather just use my money to like make sure this music fund it. And so we brought in those artists. It's something I want to consistently do, like every month, bring in artists, do music, bring artists, do music, bring artists, do music. And so there's that on that part. There's also the part where, like I said, in my Jota now, there are about 10 shows that I can potentially work on. We're executing one next month. I'm thinking of how to execute the second one the same month or July. So they are coming. I hope you like them when we release them. I'm also working on something with a lawyer because there are a lot of things that a lot of startup founders don't know regarding to like law, which tie back to the conversation around compliance and regulation that we spoke about earlier. So I'm having like a five episode series with a lawyer. So they're like, it's just for me, it's just thinking around ways that I can deliver value to founders, to operators, to everybody generally in the ecosystem. And I think that's really just it for me. Yeah,
brilliant,
I hope you like.
Yeah, anticipating all of the interesting shows that are coming, and the stuff with Ilaje music and other even kind of music from others. I think that's also very interesting. We should not lose our culture. As much as we want to have our say, have our place around the world, but at least our culture, our heritage is not something we should just throw away. Are there any dream collaborations or partnerships you are looking out for?
I'm interested in like exploring the African continent, right? Going to see what the ecosystem looks like and sharing my thoughts on it, and then maybe from there export that to like European countries and all of that. Like my immediate goal or dream is sort of do an exploration of all the 54 African countries and see how their ecosystem is. So I think
that would be beautiful. Very, very beautiful. It's been a very, very insightful conversation with Bayomi, learning about your journey, all of your expressions, and even great tips for content creators. So we'll quickly go to a fireside section to like wrap up this episode. So
Awesome.
I'll ask you a few questions. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, no.
What are 5 top startups to look out for in the next 2, 3, 5 years?
Dome, speech,
So
recital, middleman, bridge. Yeah, bridge does facilitates trades, basically, financing.
what's the best piece of advice that you've gotten as a designer and as a content creator?
Design every day, practice every day. As a content creator, maybe something I've seen somebody do is like really caring a lot about what they are doing, which is care about like the value that you're providing. Yeah, so I think maybe that's
Awesome. What's one thing the African tech space needs more of?
Bayomi.
Smart,
Yeah.
nice. You guys will partner or work with Bayomi.
Yeah.
He's your guy. Startups, venture studios, investment companies, just work with Bayomi. What's one advice for designers, people that want to do much more than just moving pixels, want to maybe build companies or do stuff outside immediate design? What's one advice for them?
If they're interested in building products, I'll just say they should find an engineer and then just start shipping products. If they're interested in like advancing, I'll say try to understand the business side of design, and yeah, you're good.
So lastly, what's one piece of advice for a startup founder?
Go outside and touch grass and yeah, speak to your people. I think more about distribution and marketing and how you can make money. Yeah, because most founders just tend to want to build fancy products without thinking about how would this get to the end user, which is, for me, I think that's like the most important part: distribution and marketing. If you figure out those two, you're good.
Lastly, I think I said lastly before. One last one to finally wrap up the episode.
Yeah.
When you were paid for your content, the first payment you got as your for any content you created, how much was it?
20K.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Brilliant. How did
The
you
first
feel?
one was 20K. Second one was 60K.
Wow.
Third one was 75.
What year was the 20K?
August 2023. So that's like 3 months after I started. So first one 20K, 60K, 75, then 300, then 300, then like that.
Then like you guys do Bayomi. No, don't do Bayomi. Just partner and collaborate.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful of starting and just staying consistent.
Yeah.
After the first 3 months of consistent posting, 20K, 20K moved to 60.
Yeah.
I think that's also like how your followers also grew. You know, you have close to 33,000 ish on
37 on Instagram, 33 on TikTok, yeah. And maybe I think 12K on Twitter.
That's beautiful and powerful. Power of consistency.
Well,
I remember your first video, how we got into our WhatsApp. I was like, oh, interesting. We saw Bayomi's video, interesting. Keep going. And you just kept going. It's beautiful.
It's by the grace of God.
Yeah.
Those two. Grace of God, fear Sakpa.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Bayomi Semudara. Did I pronounce your name? I tried that. Popularly known as Bayomi. Thank you so much for coming.
The A is silent.
Yeah, and it's been an interesting, insightful conversation with Bayomi, talking about his journey, content creation, product design, and all of the interesting stuff he's building. We're looking forward to interesting shows that is upcoming and stuff he's doing around music. I hope you guys learned 1 or 2 things and you found this episode valuable. Thank you, Bayomi, once again.
Cheers.
We'll possibly bring Bayomi maybe another year or 2 years again. We'll still talk about the interesting stuff he has done. Thank you so much, guys, for watching and then for listening. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.